So thank you for joining me again. I only have 15 minutes to film this, so let's see if I can get this done. I want to bring to you some practical study tips that you probably haven't heard before. It's not like I can highlight your notes. It's practical, tangible study tips that will help you get through honours. These are stuff that I've used that helped me get a 89 overall in honours and a 92 on my thesis, which is pretty good. With that aside, congratulations. Like, you've already worked so hard to get into your third year. You've clearly done well to the point where you've been accepted into your honours or your grad dip, and you probably have a bunch of study skills and strategies that you've used to get to this point. Yet you're still out here looking for more study tips from a place of fear where people have told you that honours is so incredibly hard. A lot of new things, which can be quite scary. So I definitely understand where the fear comes from. Also, there's like this enormous pressure on yourself to get into masters, and to get into masters, people are like, oh, they won't accept anything below a H1, which is not the case. So I want you to take a step back and just trust yourself that you have the capability to handle this. And yes, it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of mental resilience. I think at the end of honours was the most burnt out I've ever felt. When you're getting into masters, a lot of universities do care about grades and will only accept people with a H1, but so many other universities really weigh that your grades up amongst other human attributes, which sounds like such a cop-out answer, but I've met the people on the panels and they really do. Like, they're genuinely just really cool people, and they want to find other really cool people. They're not just like themselves. They look at people from all different backgrounds, and they want to create a psychology field that is diverse and everyone has something unique and valuable that they can bring to the table. And yeah, I can't express this enough, that they really want someone who is a good person, and that good person will probably make a good psychologist. So nevertheless, let's get into some tips. I've broken them down into assignments, thesis, and also other tips. My first assignment tip, which I don't think I've mentioned before, but it is to invest in some sort of external tutor or external person that can give you feedback on at least one of your assignments. So I found it the case that there is a certain grade that you just can't break. You get to this place where you've maximized all the feedback that you've gotten, but you just can't seem to break that barrier, that grade barrier. And you know, you've optimized your tutor's comments, you've optimized your ways of learning and writing assignments, but there's like nothing else you feel you can do to improve. Like, why do I keep getting a 7, or why do I keep getting a 6? Why do I keep getting, you know, an 8, whatever it is? And this is probably because you've been in those patterns for so long that you can't really see out of it. So, you know, investing in an external tutor, which might cost you like $50, $60 an assignment, which is a lot of money, but it's a good investment, and they can point out patterns that you haven't seen before, and then you can apply that to your assignments going forward. So it's really good. Your tutor at uni only has 10 to 20 minutes to mark your paper. Literally, we are given barely any time, so we don't have time to actually sit down and break down your work into detail. Your tutors are also PhD students, master's students, so they have a lot of other reading, a lot of other work to do, and so like cognitively they might not be able to give you as much as you'd want. So that is why this second pair of eyes comes in handy. If that's not affordable to you, try find a friend in honours or a friend who's completed honours that can maybe like give you feedback in exchange for you giving them feedback on something. I don't know, but having someone else, you know, look through your assignment a partner, a mum, a sister, a friend is always a really, really good way to see things that you wouldn't have otherwise picked up. My next assignment tip, which I've said before I think, but I really want to reiterate this because it is honestly game-changing, and that is to leave enough time to complete your assignments. So my rule was for every 1,000 words, I would allocate a week. So a 3,000 word assignment would be 3 weeks. Like starting at 3 weeks before the due date. And this will allow you to do the same as the previous tip in terms of like the second pair of eyes. Like you can be your own second pair of eyes. So you're writing an assignment, it seems like there's nothing else that you can do. You're like frustrated, you're just tired. You're sick of looking at the same thing, you get into those patterns, you're reading over the same things and your brain has learnt like how to read it a certain way and you don't pick up on little areas. You need to stop, put it down, go away for a couple of days, work on something else, take a break, and then come back to it with fresh eyes, not sleep deprived, and you will pick up. It's truly amazing what your brain does. It's like, okay, move this here, you know, fix this sentence. Like, it's really amazing what your brain does after a bit of a break. So if you're banging your head against a wall on an assignment, the best thing you can do is give yourself some time and then come back to it. However, you obviously can't do this if you don't give yourself enough time in the first place. So hands down, that was the biggest change between me in second year versus third and fourth year, is just starting my assignments earlier. So do it. I want to quickly move on to thesis now. So I think the novelty of honours really gets to people. You've got this idea of writing this massive thesis, which is like 10,000 words or 8,000 words. But if you really break it down, that's just 3 assignments. You've got a literature review, you've got a methods and results section to write, and you've got a discussion. I would personally start with the methods section because that's the easiest. Methods and the review at the same time, that's the easiest to kind of write, and then results discussion later on. But yeah, it's just like 3 assignments, which you've done and you can do. But I think one of the biggest challenges that you will come up against is trying to write your literature review, which sounds really silly because it's, you know, but you're just gonna keep tinkering with it right to the end because you won't ever feel like it's perfect or the best. And you're gonna get really stuck at the start and how do I conceptualize this? Like, I don't know where to start. I would start by jotting down like a flow chart just from your brain, free thought of what you think the most logical way is to introduce your topic. And then I highly encourage you to go out and listen to podcasts, YouTube videos, anything where someone is like speaking through a topic in a really kind of conversational way, because that will then help you kind of conceptualize it as well, and then you can pick and, you know, mix and match and kind of come to the best way to conceptualize your topic, because obviously it won't be exactly the same. I hope that makes sense, but basically what I did is went on Spotify. Mine was about baby brain. I just put in the keyword baby brain, clicked on a podcast episodes, and then like listen to everything. You don't need a perfect structure to start writing. Just write, because you can move paragraphs around. So you just need to start it, and it's gonna look completely different at the end, but that's okay. It's just getting in the habit of writing, and you'll find that by the end, it'll come together quite nicely. My last tip is a miscellaneous tip, and that is first impressions. Your first impressions always matter. Like, if you're just dedicated in the first 3 weeks and you kind of drop off after that, your supervisor's still gonna see you as a dedicated person. But like, don't do that, stay dedicated. But you really want to impress your supervisor, particularly in those first few weeks. So show up on time, constantly, have them see your face, ask questions, be proactive, kind of tinker with things in the background before they even ask you to do something. So for example, with the ethics, I just like kind of didn't know what I was doing, but I just went ahead full steam, like wrote down documents, looked at what other people had done without like having to constantly ask my supervisor to like spoon feed me. But the really important thing of having a good impression and making your supervisor like you, which sounds really manipulative, but that's just all relationships, like treating people with respect, showing interest in their work, give them a reason to put effort into you. They have so many things to do. They have so many PhD students. It's really easy to just put honors students on the back burner. And it's just like the job, you know, they have grants to write. They have a lot of pressures on them. So you have to understand from their point of view, and you want to make them like you and kind of give them a reason to want to invest time in you. And I found that the more you put in, the more your supervisor kind of puts effort into your feedback and genuinely like cares about your outcome, you know, because whether you do good or bad doesn't really affect them. At the end of the day, it affects you. So yeah, just making that first impression really, really is important. Being professional, seeing ways that you can get involved with the lab. If there's other PhD students, talking to them, interacting with everyone in your lab is so important. And I still visit my lab every single year, visit my supervisor, sit in on a meeting, talk to the PhD students, message them occasionally, check up on them, because that's so important to like maintain those connections. And during honors, you had such an important, enriching relationship. It's so like it would be such a waste if you just like dropped off the face of the earth. And I love chatting to my supervisor. We talk about our lives. Like, she is great. Like, I can see us being in touch and having such a good relationship for ages. And I'm so grateful for the experience that I had. And she was amazing. She was also a brown girly, so that was cool. I think that strong foundation is so good, and I'll obviously use my supervisor for references, and it's such a big pivotal kind of year in that way. So that's all I have time for, because I have a tutorial or an all-day workshop that I have to go to. Had placement yesterday and the day before. Love it. Can only work less hours now, so yeah, inflation's not the vibe. I wanted to make also a video on how to get by as a student, particularly if you're supporting yourself, living out of home. If that's really interesting, let me know. Hopefully I can make some more videos to international students. I'm trying to get one out every month, and hopefully I can kind of increase the frequency of them. But yeah, I hope this is helpful. It's pretty low budget and low quality, but hopefully when I can start like earning a bit more money, I can like invest more into like a good like camera and whatnot. Just right now, not in the cards, okay? We do unpaid placements, so it's hard out here, but I'm really enjoying kind of every minute of it, to be honest. Feeling so much better from the first 6 months of my first year, and then the latter 6 months and this year have just been amazing. And I don't fully know if I'm going to be a psychologist straight out. Like, there are some other things I want to explore, but there like zero regrets. Like, this has been such an amazing like opportunity and experience, and so special to be interacting with all these people that I wouldn't have interacted with if it wasn't for this degree. And the people that I've met in my course, no words, just great people. So yeah, okay, that's enough of my life update. I hope you guys have a good day, and let's just see how long it takes me to get this up. All right, bye. Also, this is why I wanted to film outside. Are you kidding? Can't even see it, but oh, there you go. She's real nice.